this is. Mr. Lenneman, you wish to be heard on this subject? I'm sorry, I'm going to bring the juror, but can't hear you. Turn on your mic, stand up. What?
I saw what he provided me,
Mr.
the
Lenneman?
2 cases and the juvenile arrest form.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if this is specifically relevant to a question that she was asked. It doesn't say anything about a conviction, and although it alleges some kind of domestic violence, she was 15 at the time, so she may not recognize that that's an issue. So
I'd simply point out, Your Honor, that on the questionnaire, one of the questions
Yeah.
was, have you or any member of your family been accused, a complainant, or a witness in a criminal case? And she put no.
Yeah, and Mr. Foxman did specifically ask about domestic violence folks. So there's enough here for me to bring her in. Can you bring in juror 712, please? Yes, please. Thanks. Thank you. She's going to need a mic. Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good.
Did you have a nice lunch?
It was okay.
Okay. All right. I have a couple of questions for you. Some issues have come up. Ma'am, on your application, you indicated, on your juror questionnaire, you indicated you were not working. Is that correct?
Yes.
And do you actually work at Publix?
Yes. Well, I work at Publix, but I haven't gone through orientation yet, so they put the whole thing on hold. So
Okay. So when you were asked by the attorneys where you worked, you indicated that you were not working. Why did you not tell us that you were working at Publix?
I felt like it didn't matter since my thing was on hold.
Okay. Do you also recall being asked if, on the questionnaire, the juror questionnaire, if you or a member of your family had ever been involved in a criminal case,
Yes.
and that you said no?
Yes.
Is that answer correct?
Yes.
Do you recall being involved in a domestic violence case, battery case, when you were 15?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me why you didn't tell us about that?
I don't think I was 15. I know I was in the 5th grade though.
Well, it was 2015, and based on your date of birth, you would have been 15 at that time. So is there a reason that you left that off?
Because I attended classes and I thought they took it off my record. That's what was stated.
Okay. Is there anything else that you didn't tell us during jury selection?
No.
When did you get the job at Publix?
I had an interview. I don't recall the date, but it was, I believe, sometime in August.
Okay. And have you gotten a paycheck from them?
No, ma'am.
So you were hired in August, but you still haven't gotten a paycheck from them?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever actually worked at the Publix?
No, ma'am.
State, you wish to inquire? Defense? All right, thank you, ma'am. If you could step back into the jury room, I appreciate it. Can I see the attorneys at the bench, please? I'm going to take the state's motion under advisement. I will have a ruling for you by tomorrow morning. I just want to do a little bit more research on this. I'm going to hand this back to you. All right. Everybody ready to go? Let's bring the jury back in. State recognized presence of the jury? Defense? Yes. All right. Welcome back, folks. Hope you enjoyed your lunch. State, you may call your next witness.
Ronald Stewart, Jr.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
You may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Stewart, I need you to stay as close to the mic as you can.
All right.
Could you state your name and spell your last name, please, sir?
Ronald Allen Stewart, Jr., last name Stewart.
How old are you, Mr. Stewart?
29.
And what is your occupation?
I'm a software engineer.
And how long have you been a software engineer?
Almost like on and off for like 2 years. Yeah.
And what education did you have in that area?
Mechanical engineering,
And where did you obtain that education?
University of Florida.
Mr. Stewart, I'd like to draw your attention to the evening hours of December the 13th, 2016. Do you recall where you were?
I was at my mom's house.
And what were you doing at your mom's house that evening?
I was working on a web application for a blog.
And are you related to Sade Dixon?
Yes,
And how are you related to her?
I'm my brother.
Do you know Markeith Loyd?
Yes,
Do you see him here in this courtroom?
yes.
Can you point to him and describe what he's wearing, please, sir?
That's him right there with the pink shirt on.
All right. In addition to the pink shirt, is he wearing something, anything else?
Yes, he's wearing a black hoodie or sweater.
Okay. How did you meet the defendant?
First met him like early on in probably August-ish. Early on in August.
Okay.
And I was coming in from the house, and my sister was in the kitchen area, dining room area, and I saw both of them there. He was sitting down, and she introduced me as his personal trainer.
Did it come a time that the relationship became different than that of her personal trainer?
Yeah, later on.
And what became that relationship?
So a little bit after August, found out that she was their boyfriend, girlfriend.
Now, on the night of the evening of December 13th, you say you were working on an application for a blog.
Yes,
And were you at home, at your mother's home doing that?
yes, sir.
Where in her home were you?
I was in the office area where my room was.
Okay.
So that's the front door. Like if you come in the front door, it'd be on the right hand side, past the stairway.
Stuart, I want to show you what is number 1, states composite 2 in evidence, and ask, you recognize that?
Yes,
And what do you recognize that to be?
my mom's home.
And can you describe where the office is from that picture?
It's the bottom right window.
Just a second, we'll have it so the jurors can see it. Okay, so the jurors can look at the same picture you're looking at. In the center is the red door.
Yes,
As you're looking at the house from this direction, where is the office window?
it's to the right of the red door, the bottom right.
Okay? Between the door and the garage?
Yes,
And that's where you were sitting?
yes, sir.
Did you have an unobstructed view into the front yard?
Yeah, it was unobstructed. I mean, the only thing that was really blocking us was the blinds.
Tell me about the blinds.
So they're like a little open. So they're open where I can see the outside street curve in front of the house.
Okay? Were they vertical blinds or horizontal blinds?
Vertical.
They go up and down?
Oh, horizontal then.
Okay. So
Oh.
they go side to side?
Yeah, it's like this, not like this.
Okay. So do they go up and down?
They don't go up and down.
They don't, I'm sorry. I'm confused with my term.
Uh,
Do the blinds hang from the top down, lengthwise?
Yes,
Panels?
yes,
Yeah, okay. And so they pivot from side to side.
yes, sir.
Were they pivoted at all?
Yes, they were.
And in which direction and what? What could you see and what could you not see?
I mean, the only thing that was really in front of it was like the curtains.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the blinds were like partially open.
Okay. Did there come a time that evening when the defendant arrived at the house?
Yes.
Tell us how you became aware that he was there?
I was sitting at the desk and I heard a knock on the window. I stood up and I opened the blinds a little bit and I saw it was Markeith.
Okay.
And I went to the door.
And then you went to the door?
Yes.
All right. What happened when you went to the door?
Opened the door and he asked if Sade was home.
Was she?
Yes.
So what did you do then?
Closed the door, asked Sade, Markeith is here. He's asking.
And what did she do?
She started walking towards the door.
Did she go outside?
Yes.
What did you do?
Went back to my desk.
Now, at some point during the evening, did your sister come back inside for a short period of time?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So I was still sitting at the desk. Probably some time passed, roughly 30 minutes or so, and she came through the door, closed the door, went upstairs.
And how long was she upstairs?
Probably for like a few minutes, like 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay, and then what happened?
She went right back downstairs and out the door,
Okay.
closed it.
Now, do you have a younger brother?
Yes.
And was he at home during at the beginning of these events?
So he came through the door probably maybe a little bit afterwards. And I think this is probably, yeah, a little bit afterwards, and I asked them if they were still outside. Wait, say it again.
Hold on. You're objecting to, I asked him if they were still outside?
He's getting ready to say what the conversation is, Judge.
Well, the statement itself wasn't, but the response would be. Go ahead.
Don't tell us what he said.
Uh,
When he came in the house, was it before or after your sister had come in and gone upstairs and come back out?
I want to say it was before my sister went out.
Okay. Now, as you were working there, was there some noise or something that attracted your attention?
Yeah, so after she went out for the second time,
Yes?
I heard a bang on the garage.
Now,
I heard a bang.
now, what kind of door is on the front of the garage?
It's like metal, aluminum.
Okay? And did it occur to you what might be making that noise?
At first, I didn't know. I was gonna check on my dog and see if it was her.
Okay. Why would your dog have made the noise?
Oh, I said it again.
Why did you think that perhaps your dog had made the noise in the garage?
I didn't know. I just wanted to check for
Okay.
sure.
All right, so where did you go?
I went into the garage door on the side.
Now, we're using the word garage door. There's the big door on the front of the garage that goes up and down.
Yes,
Okay, is there another door in the garage?
yes. There's
What
one.
kind of door is that?
That's just like a wooden metal door.
Okay, a regular sized door?
Yeah, regular sized door.
And what part of the house do you have to be in to go in and out of that door?
You have to either go through the office or go through the kitchen to get
Okay.
there.
So when you went through and looked into the passageway door, I'll call it, into the garage, what did you see?
So I opened the garage door and I called on the lights and I saw my dog going pacing back and forth. And then also I turned my eyes upwards because I saw two figures in the window area of the garage door.
Now, are we talking about the front garage door at this point?
Yes,
Okay. Who did you see?
I saw Markeith on one side of the car and Sade on the other side of the car.
What was Sade's appearance to you at that point?
I was looking at her and seemed like she was really afraid. She was ducking her head down and trying to avoid him.
So what did you do at that point?
Close the garage door and put on my shoes to go outside.
So when you first went outside, where did you go?
I was walking on like if you go out the door, I was walking on the pavement and going straight towards the car on the pavement.
And where was your sister and where was the defendant?
Markeith was closer to me, near the front door, and Sade was on the other side, further away, on the opposite side of the car.
And what did you say or do when you got outside there?
I said, "You guys doing okay?"
And did either of them reply?
They're like, "Yeah, we're just talking."
You say they. Did each of them say that or just one of them?
Well, Markeith said, "We're just talking."
Okay. Did your sister say anything at that point?
She said, "Yeah, go back inside. Yeah, we're good."
Okay. And what did you say?
I said, "It doesn't look like you guys doing much talking."
And what was the response to that?
As I got closer, he started walking towards the middle of the driveway.
Who walked towards the middle of the driveway?
Markeith.
What did your sister do?
She came around the back of the car towards me, near the back side of the car where Markeith was standing.
Mm-hmm. And where did she go?
She just stayed there.
By the back of the car?
Yes.
And then, did you say anything or do anything then?
Yeah, I was saying, yeah, I think you guys need to save this for another day, because it doesn't look like you guys are talking too well right now.
Okay. And did anybody respond to that?
Markeith was like, I swear I ain't gonna hurt her. I swear I ain't gonna hurt her. I swear that on my father, I ain't gonna hurt her. And I was like, all right, but it doesn't look like you guys are talking right now. I think you should go in your car. I think you should need to go in the house.
Okay? What happened or then?
So as the discussion kept on going, like he got frustrated because I was telling him, you guys need to talk about this another day. And he was saying, yeah, she's smoking, she's effing this dude. And I was like,
Did he say effing, or did he use the word?
yeah, he was fucking.
Okay. And who? Did he say who?
Yeah, Sade.
Yeah, but who was the other party?
No.
Okay. And what did you do or say then?
I was like, women will say certain things to make push you away. You got to give them space, and I think that's what we need right now. We need to give this some space and some time.
Did your sister make any statements during this?
Yes. So she began to say, "Why are you telling our business?" And
Who was
then
she saying that to?
she was saying that to Markeith.
Okay.
And she also follow up with that with saying, you didn't tell them about you putting 2 guns in my head in the backyard.
Okay. So after there was this exchange, then what happened next?
And I was like, yeah, this is definitely not good. I think you guys definitely need to take this on another day for sure. Talk about this on another day. And I told Sade to go walk to the house, and he stepped like 2 steps, quick steps, saying, no, she ain't going nowhere. Talking about this today.
Who said that?
Markeith.
Said no, what?
No, she ain't going nowhere. We're gonna talk about this today.
Okay. And then what did Sade do?
She stopped.
Okay. And what did you do?
I
Or
just
say?
still standing there. I was like, this is not good. I think you guys for sure need to stop. This is going way beyond what it needs to go.
Okay. What was the next thing that happened?
He just started talking, and then still talking about stuff. And
He,
Markeith.
and you remember what he was saying?
Not too much after that because Sade started to run
Where
to the
did you-
door,
Where did she run to?
to the front door of the house.
Okay. And what did you do?
I saw that he started moving, and I looked back, and she wasn't where she was before,
Mm-hmm.
and I started running as well, going to the front door.
What happened when you got to the front door?
Sade, I saw that the door wasn't unlocked. She was banging on the door, and I looked behind me, and I saw that he was standing right in front, outside of the pavement in the grass in the middle of the lawn.
Now, from where you are, could you point to something or someone in this courtroom that's about the same distance away from you as the defendant was then?
I would say, estimately, it would be from here to that desk.
To here?
Yes, to the front end of that desk.
So roughly you were about this far apart,
Yes.
okay? And now, you said that Sade was banging on the door.
Yes.
Now, is there something about that door that, about the way it locks?
I'm not sure, but I definitely didn't lock it when I walked out of it.
Okay. You say you did or did not?
I did not.
Okay. But she was banging on the door. Okay. Now, you saw the defendant standing there. What did he do?
I saw him take out the gun.
Where did he take it out of?
It was like a red hoodie he had on.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I saw him take out the gun from his red hoodie front pocket,
Mm-hmm.
with his right hand.
Okay. What did he do
And
after he took it out of his pocket?
he did this motion where he at the
Hold your hands up so that Just hold your hands so.
He did this motion. He did this motion to, I guess, put the bullet in the chamber, and held it up. And before he did that, I was like, "It's not that serious, bro." And I had my hands up like this.
Okay. And what happened?
I heard a bang, and next thing I know, I didn't have control over my body, and it felt like someone kicked me really, really, really hard in my stomach, and I fell down, uncontrollably.
Now, were you still conscious?
Yes,
You were aware of what was going on around you?
yes. Initially, I had a ring in my ear when I initially fell, but
Okay.
yeah.
So could you tell what Sade was doing?
I remember when I fell, I felt her over my body, like she was patting my shoulder.
Okay. Do you know what the defendant was doing?
He was shooting.
And did he stay in one place or did he move?
He moved.
Tell us how he moved.
From how the shots were coming, he was moving towards the right side of the pillar in front of the house.
Now, is that the right side as you're standing at the door or the right side as you're facing the door?
Right side as you're facing the house.
Okay. He was moving around that side of the pillar?
Yes.
And could you hear any other noise?
Just shots and screaming.
Who was screaming?
I want to say it was my sister.
So where did the defendant go as he was moving around the right side of the pillar?
As he was still shooting, he was moving on the right side, and he came on the inside where me and Sade initially ran through to go to the front door.
Okay. And what happened then?
He kept on shooting, and he stepped over me, kept on shooting her.
And what happened after he kept on shooting her?
I guess he stopped shooting her, put his attention on me.
And what do you mean he put his attention on you?
He was right like at the bottom of my feet when he stopped shooting her, and he held the gun towards me and started shooting upwards.
Now, were you laying on your back, your side, or your front?
My side.
Okay.
Ish.
So what? He started shooting towards you. Where did he hit you?
He hit me twice in the leg, 2 bullets in the leg, and he was aiming for my heart.
Now, okay, what were you doing when you say that he was aiming for your heart? What did you do?
I rotated my side to cover my heart so he won't hit it, and
Anything else to cover your heart?
just rotating.
Okay. And then what happened?
As that last shot still hit me in my chest, I started hearing the door open, and then
What did you hear or see when the door opened?
I heard the door open, and then I heard it slam.
Okay. Did you hear anything after you heard the door slam?
More shots, and him starting to run towards the curb, towards the street.
Do you know where his car was?
When I first walked out, it was in front of the house on the street.
Okay. So in the direction he was moving, was it in the direction of his car?
Yes.
Do you know if he ever left?
Yes.
How do you know that he left?
I saw all the lights as it was going down the hill.
Okay. Now, after he left, what was the next thing that happened?
I started hearing my mom saying, "My babies, my babies, my babies." He shot my babies.
May I approach the witness, John?
Yes, sir.
Let me show you what has been marked as a composite. States O for identification, 1 through 10. I'm going to ask you to just take a minute and look at each of those, please.
Yes.
you seen those before?
Yes.
And what do they show? What do they depict?
The layout of the house and the cars and the pillars and the walkway coming from the front door to the
And
driveway.
Do some of them show the sequence of events as you described them?
Yes.
And do they accurately depict it as you remember it?
Yes.
In fact, have you had a chance to make changes on it if there was anything in error?
Yes.
And did you make changes on them?
Yes.
Can you use them to help explain to the jury the sequence of events and where you were and where everyone was?
Yes.
All right, move to admit states O into evidence as the next.
Judge, can
Number-
I have voir dire on these?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Can I see you, please? Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Stewart. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Great. So we clearly understand how these were created. These gentlemen over here created these on their own before they even talked to you and then sent them to you. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay. And they asked you to look at those, correct?
Yes.
And when they had a conversation with you about these, they claimed that they used the demonstrative that you prepared during my deposition.
Yes.
And you prepared a demonstrative during my deposition, did you not?
Yes.
With arrows and locations and all of that. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, there's some differences between what's in your demonstrative that was made in the deposition and these documents, isn't there?
Meaning I haven't made a comparison between the demonstrators and that one yet.
You never looked at your actual drawing that you made in the deposition, which was way before these gentlemen created that. Isn't that right?
Wait, say it again.
You never looked at the drawing that you did, which was before these gentlemen created these documents, and compared the two. Isn't that right?
Were those created after the main one?
These were created after.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you never compared this one, which you created in a deposition, which I handed you a piece of paper and you drew yourself, with these.
Yes.
Isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay. You changed one thing when you sent it back, correct?
Yes.
One of the things you didn't change was the direction that you believed Mr. Loyd went to go to his car. And it's different on here than it is on here. Isn't that right?
I don't think so.
May I approach the witness? Okay, and this one, which is, gets page 10, number 12 says, Markeith Loyd shoots Ronald Stewart multiple times. Markeith Loyd runs to his car. Do you see that?
Yes.
And which arrow's the arrow pointed?
It's going straight to the front of the house.
Okay. And what do
In
you
the car.
show in your exhibit? Where does he run?
So where's that depicted?
Right here. You show him running around this part of the car, which is in a complete opposite direction than what you show in this exhibit. Isn't that right?
Means in the direction of where I said he was running, like straight in front of the house to the car in front of the house.
Okay. I'm going to have this marked as a defense exhibit so the jury can make the decision themselves. Can I have that marked, ma'am? Thank you very much. I'm objecting to these, Judge.
Sidebar. without objection, the deposition exhibit number 1 from the deposition dated May 16 is admitted as defense exhibit number 2. I'll hand that back to the clerk. And over objection, the state's 6-page composite exhibit O is being admitted as state's exhibit number 14. Granted. Which one are you publishing? I'm sorry. Yours? O? So state exhibit 14? All right, thank you.
Stewart, you see the diagram in front of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the jurors can see the same diagram, so I want you to start explaining some things. First of all, the two sort of yellow or gold squares there,
Yes.
what those are,
Those are the pillars in front of the front door.
okay? And the small rectangle box that they are sitting in,
That is the front porch foyer.
okay? And the sort of lines that go out towards the cars, what does that represent?
The lines going out towards the cars.
Not the red arrow, but the black lines, parallel lines that go out and turn and go to the,
Okay. That's the walking paveway going to the driveway.
okay? So when you came out, referring to this diagram, where did you first go?
Where did I first go? So I was walking on the paveway, and I went to just a little bit in front of the back of the car.
Okay? So you walked down the sidewalk?
Yes.
Okay, what's the next one? Okay. So, you see the diagram in front of you now?
Yes.
What is number 1?
Number 1 is Sade's position.
And number 2?
Number 2 was Markeith's position.
Okay. And number 3 is you?
Yes.
And what is number 4?
Number 4 is Markeith walking to the midway of the driveway.
This was after you came out and started talking to them,
Yes.
okay? Now, this one includes now the number 5. What is number 5?
Number 5 is Sade moving to the near back end of the car.
Okay? Now, we now have number 6, and what is that?
Number 6 was my position on the paveway.
now standing next to your sister,
Yes.
and the defendant is still standing towards the end of the driveway.
Yes.
And is this the position you were in when you had the discussion that you told us about earlier?
Yes.
Okay? Okay, now, first of all, tell us what is number 7.
Number 7 is Markeith's position just before we got to in front of the door.
What is 9 and 8?
8 was Sade's right in front of the door. Number 9 was me standing in front of Sade.
Okay, and is that where she was standing when you testified earlier, banging on the door?
Yes.
Okay. And what is number 10 now?
Number 10 is probably is where I felt
Okay.
after I got shot.
Now, what is number 11 and the arrow that goes from 7 to 11?
That's Markeith's direction as he was going around the pillar to continue to shoot Sade
Okay.
and step over me.
And what is the red arrow from 11 across 10?
Oh, I say that one more time. Oh, it's across 10. That's him stepping over me.
Okay. And what is number 12?
That's where he was standing, where he started shooting me multiple times, going from my leg to my chest.
Do you know where he was standing when he shot Sade?
In that area,
The area of 12?
yes.
All right. And what is the arrow from 12 that leads out?
That's his direction, running towards the street, going to his car in front of the house.
Now that you've had a chance to look at the slides, I want you to look at that closely. First of all, do you recall how that document was created?
Yes, that was during our deposition with the defense.
Okay. And who drew that?
I did,
And did you draw it freehand?
yes.
And did you know in advance that you were going to be asked to draw that?
No.
Looking at that diagram that you now hold, is there anything about that that you feel is inaccurate or incomplete?
I see from number 11 position, it has an arrow going outwards from the pavement, on the pavement. And I want to say that's the direction that Markeith was going on that.
What arrow are you referring to?
The 11 going,
Going out the walkway.
yes.
So other than some slight variance between I'll rephrase, other than a difference between the direction that Markeith Loyd fled from the scene, was there anything else about that diagram that you felt was inaccurate?
No, I don't think so at all.
After the shooting, where were you taken?
To the hospital.
And how long were you in the hospital?
A month.
And did you have surgery?
Multiple.
Do you know if your sister owned a gun?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Okay. And how many times had you ever seen the gun?
Once.
And do you know about when that was?
Probably a little bit before November, maybe in September,
Okay.
when she showed me. Yeah.
And what when she showed it to you, what purpose was it that she was showing it to you?
She wanted to know how to take out the magazine.
Did you know how to take out the magazine?
No.
Have you ever handled firearms?
No.
Ever shot firearms?
No.
Have any experience or training with firearms?
No, sir.
Let me show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit P for identification. And ask you to recognize the person in that photograph.
Yes, sir.
And who is that?
It's my sister, Sade.
I move to admit State's P into evidence.
Any objection? All right, this will be admitted without objection as State's Exhibit number 15.
Your Honor, may we publish that photograph?
You may.
Mr. Stewart, other than the firearm that Markeith Loyd pulled out of his pocket and shot you with, did you see any other firearms that night?
No, sir.
To your knowledge, other than your sister's gun, were there any other firearms in the house?
I didn't know of any other firearms.
Thank you, sir. I have no other questions, Your Honor.
Cross?
Good afternoon, Mr. Stewart.
Good afternoon.
It's a very difficult time for you, sir.
Yes, sir.
This whole experience has been very difficult for you and your family.
Yes, sir.
You lost someone you love very much.
Yes, sir.
And the people close to you, they lost someone they love very much as well.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that I have to ask these questions of you, but they're important. When this happened to you, in the days and weeks that followed, you were torn, were you not?
Yes, sir.
You relived, I imagine, over and over and over again that night and the events that took place.
Every day.
And still, it's with you.
Yes, sir.
And during that period of time, you struggled and had to deal with the pain that your mother dealt with. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Your mother didn't like Markeith.
No, not too much.
She didn't want him with her daughter. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And she didn't want her to have that baby. Is that right?
She can have the baby. Just a matter of taking care of her.
Your mom was taking care of her 2 kids already. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes, sir.
Raising them.
Yes, sir.
And so through this process, you've had contact with law enforcement. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Detective Savelli. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Detective Garcia Pagan. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
These prosecutors.
Yes, sir.
And all they wanted you to do was tell the truth.
Yes, sir.
Is that right? So a few minutes ago when Mr. Ridgway questioned you and talked to you about what happened, did he have a conversation with you about omitting from your testimony your sister's statement that she made to you about hurting Markeith? Was that planned?
Do not recall that.
Was that something you chose not to bring up?
I'm not exactly sure of the conversation.
While you were out there, during this confrontation, your sister stated to Markeith that my brother can whip your ass and stuff like that. Isn't that right?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So my question is, why did you withhold that information from this jury when you were questioned?
Didn't recall it while I was discussing it.
So that wasn't something that stood out.
No, it wasn't that. I just didn't remember to say it.
Did you do it for your mother?
No.
The night that this happened, you were in the house trying to get some work done.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned that you're an engineer.
Yes, sir.
You went to school.
Yes, sir.
You're well educated.
Yes, sir. I would like to believe.
Reading's important to you.
Reading is very important.
And so on that particular night, you were trying to get some stuff done.
Yes, sir.
And while you were there, there was a kind of tap at the window with a little light flash, and it was Markeith.
Yes, sir.
And you told your sister Markeith was outside. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
And then you went back to working.
Yes.
And there was a period of time that passed, but at some point you started becoming a little concerned. Is that right?
No, I was working.
So the first time you actually became concerned was when you heard what you thought was the dog in the garage?
Yes.
And so it's not unusual for your dog to go in the garage, and it's kept in the garage sometimes when you need to give it a bath, right?
Yeah.
And it's not unusual for the dog to knock against something. Isn't that right?
Usually she doesn't make noise at all.
Do you remember giving a deposition in this case?
Yes.
you give a statement in this case as well, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
To the police.
Yes, sir.
And you remember giving this statement to the detectives, page 5, lines 5 through 12.
I'll have to see it.
I'm going to read it to you,
Oh, okay.
all right? You good with that?
It's good.
Okay. The detective says, okay, and you respond, during that part, so she went outside, closed the door, then a couple of minutes later, I heard a bump on the garage. And I went outside into the garage door like inside the house, and outside looking at my dog, because sometimes she bumps on the garage. And I was asking people like, y'all heard that? And they were like, no, I didn't hear nothing. So I cut on the light, I went into the garage from the inside of the house. Is that your statement?
Yeah, I said it,
And so the dog sometimes would bump the garage.
but it was too loud of a bang.
I'm sorry?
It was too loud of a bang,
It was too loud, but the dog bumps the garage.
possibly sometimes.
And so before that, after your sister had left, she came back inside. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
And she went upstairs. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
And she came downstairs and went back outside. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
And it was about 10 minutes or so that when you heard this noise from the garage. Isn't that right?
Roughly, yeah.
And you're thinking that this is a little louder than what my dog makes, right?
Yeah.
And you asked people about it, but no one heard anything. It was only you.
Mm.
And you wanted to check on your sister, right?
First, I wanted to check on my dog.
Okay. But also your sister.
Not in that moment. I wasn't thinking about that.
And so you go outside, and that's when you see through the pane. Because what we're talking about here is a pane. Is that correct, of the garage?
Yeah, window pane.
I'm showing you what's A76, defense exhibit. You're looking from the door of the entry in the house near your room, and you're looking out this pane. And the pane that you're talking about is the pane that we see here.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So you're literally right near the door when you're looking at the pane. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that'd be about right here, and the pane would be about right where you're at, because it's a two-car garage, right?
Yes.
And you're looking out the pane. Is that correct?
Yes.
How tall was your sister?
Maybe 5, 6, 8.
I'm sorry?
5, 6, 8.
And it's your testimony as you look out the pane, you can see on her face what appears to be fear. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes.
And so you decide to go out because now you're alerted. Is that right?
Yes.
And so you go back inside and close the door,
Yes.
and you put your shoes on,
Yes.
and you walk to the front door. Is that right?
Yes.
And you open the front door,
Yes.
and you walk outside the front door,
Yes.
and you close the door behind you.
Yes.
And it's not locked because two of you are outside now. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And the reason you're going outside is because you're concerned with your sister. Is that right?
Yes.
You don't say anything to anybody. Is that right?
No.
You don't want to alert anybody because you wanted to make sure that you weren't perhaps over-exaggerating the situation. Is that right?
I don't know.
But in your mind, you've decided that there is some kind of danger. Is that right?
I thought she was in fear, so I went outside to make sure she was all right.
And so when you walked outside, you walked down the sidewalk to near where the driveway was. Is that right?
Yes.
And there's actually a third car at the grass area of the driveway. Is there not?
Possibly yes.
You don't remember that?
The only cars I remember being there was my mom's car and my dad's car.
I'm showing you A76, defense exhibit.
Yeah, the
You
over.
recognize that?
So the cover over car. Yeah.
Whose car is that?
My dad's.
So your dad has a third car that he keeps there, or is he just bring it sometimes and leave it there?
Oh, it's just work on car, project car.
So he leaves it at the house to work on.
Yeah.
And it was there when you got there? It was there when you got back to the house?
Yes.
It's been there the entire time.
Yes.
And there's a garbage can at the front? Is that right? You need to see it again? I'm sorry. There's a garbage can that was at the front?
Yes.
And then, what's over here?
What's over where?
Right in this area here. It's another garbage can, a barbecue, what is there?
Looks like a barbecue from what I'm looking at.
I'm sorry?
A barbecue, tin.
So there was a barbecue right at the front of the garage. So if somebody walked by, coming from around the side, and hit that, that could have been the noise you heard, right?
Possibly, but it was much louder than just a kick.
And so when you went outside, you asked what was going on. Isn't that right?
I just asked, is everything okay?
And Markeith said, they're chilling. Isn't that right?
Just talking.
Chilling.
I was just talking.
You gave a statement to the detectives, beginning on page 6, line 18. And you said, so I'm going back to the story, because you were telling them the story, and we'll talk about that a little later, right? They talked to you, just so the jury's clear, they talked to you for a while when the second time they interviewed you, without ever recording what you said. Isn't that right?
I said again.
The police had a conversation with you at the hospital before they recorded the conversation that I have. They spoke with you about what had happened, didn't they? And it wasn't recorded.
I don't recall.
On page 2, lines 8 and 9. Well, let me go up for a second. On line 6, they're saying to you, you got some machines and whatnot. They probably putting some medication into you. And your response was, yeah. And then they say, Detective Garcia says, but you and I and my partner, we spoke for a little while, did we not? And your answer was, yes, we did. So you spoke to these detectives about what had happened before they even recorded your statement. Isn't that right?
Possibly so, yes.
And part of that statement was page 6. So I'm going back to the story. I put on my shoes and I went out the front door, and then pretty much I was looking out there and I was like, you all okay? He was like, yeah, we chilling. We talking right now. And I was like, it don't look like you guys talking too much, too good right now. You all need probably talk about this later. You remember that?
Yes.
And so when you're out there, you're having this conversation with them about what's going on, and you again believe that she looks afraid. Isn't that right?
Well, she calmed down from what I seen from the window pane. But yeah, she was looking pretty tense.
But she tells you also, go back inside. She's telling you to leave them alone, is she not?
Yes.
And you as the older brother, who are certainly concerned about your sister, had heard this noise at some point, and it doesn't appear to you that things are all going well and things are amiss. You're just like, listen, we need to shut this down. You need to stop this. We need to end this and come back another day. That's pretty much what's going on, isn't it?
Yes.
And you saw, before you even had any further conversation with Markeith, that he had his hand kind of fidgeting. Isn't that right?
In his pocket,
In
hoodie
his
pocket.
And then he pulled his right hand out of his pocket, and he started trying to offer you an explanation of what they're dealing with. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay. He's saying to you that she's smoking pot, smoking weed. She's pregnant at this time, right?
Yes.
You know she's pregnant, correct?
Yes.
And they had been together about 3 months at that point. Isn't that right?
Roughly, yeah.
Okay. And she's like 2.5 months pregnant.
Yes.
But everyone in your family knows,
Yes.
including your mom.
Yes.
And so he's saying that she's smoking weed, that she's lying to me about smoking the weed, and mentions about fucking another dude.
Yeah.
And that's what he's saying to you.
Yes.
And then you say to him, listen, you know, women do this. You're trying to diffuse it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're trying to play it down
Yes.
because you're concerned about what's going on around you. Is that right?
Yes, in that situation, yes.
Okay. And so when your sister hears this, she responds by saying, well, why don't you tell him what just happened on the side of the house? You pulled 2 guns and put them to my head.
Yes.
That's what she says.
Yes.
So now we have a situation where you're already concerned about what was going on, and now you know, according to your sister, that there are 2 guns in the hands of Mr. Loyd. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes.
And that's something that really, really concerns you.
Yes.
And you kept trying to say, separate. Separate. You guys, come on. Separate. But no one's listening to you, right?
Well, I told Sade to start walking to the house, and she started doing that, and Markeith was like, no, we're talking about this today.
But that's not what really happened. What really happened was she got angry. She got angry when he kept saying what he was saying.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to Mr. Lemon testifying.
Sustained.
She got angry, did she not?
She got upset, yes.
And she was angry because he was telling you, her older brother, their business.
Yes.
And she said that.
Yes.
And as a result of that anger, she said, my brother will whip your ass.
Yes.
That's what her response was.
Yes.
She wasn't backing down. She was angry. And you're trying to diffuse. Isn't that true?
Yes.
And at that moment, when you found out that he had those guns, you thought he'd pull the guns. Isn't that right?
Say it again.
When you found out that he had those guns, you were concerned he was going to pull those guns.
Yeah.
Now, you originally told the police that you were like 3 or 4 feet away from him, didn't you?
Estimately.
But you did. You told them 3 or 4 feet, right?
Possibly so.
And they told you, you sure it's not 5? Is that right?
Not sure.
Well, let's go to your statement. Page 8, line 12. Question, or the statement by the police. How far are you? How far away from you was him? Ronald, I would say about 3 or 4 feet. Detective, so I'm 3 or 4 feet, a little more than N. I don't know if it's not. I'm left this far, and he's showing you, and you say, maybe 5, maybe 5. And the detective says, my about 5, but this is this. And you say yes, and he says, okay, about 5 feet, and you say 5 feet. Isn't that right?
Yes.
All right. And that's what we see on this diagram, where you're putting him away
Your Honor,
from
I'm going to
you.
object to Mr. Lemon testifying from
This
the
is
diagram.
cross, Judge.
You need to rephrase what you're saying. Go ahead.
And in your diagram, you drew an arrow, correct, putting him into the middle of the driveway. Isn't that right?
Yes.
That's the 5 feet that you're telling the detective. Isn't that right?
Yes, but looking back, that's not an accurate measurement.
The 5 feet is not accurate.
No.
So the demonstrative that these prosecutors put together for you was not accurate.
It was estimate, but I know it's definitely more than 5 feet.
And you had testified that at some point your sister starts running. Isn't that your testimony?
Yes.
And the door's only a few feet away, right?
Couple of feet, yeah.
And the door was open.
When I first went out of it, yes.
Now, you and Mr. Loyd are similar in height, is that correct?
Yes.
He's a little bigger than you.
Yes.
And really, honestly, you were mainly concerned about your safety, the safety of your sister.
Yes.
Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
You weren't concerned about you. You cared about her and her safety.
Yes.
And at the beginning, the first time that you were questioned by the police, you were in a lot of pain. You had things hooked up to you. Your life, in your mind, you were hanging on by a thread. Is that fair?
That's fair.
And a police officer came and talked to you, and he tried to get some information from you. You remember that?
Yes.
And he asked if you knew who had shot you and who had shot your sister, and you told him Markeith.
Yes.
And he asked if you knew what kind of haircut he had, and you said, I think it was short. I think that's what you said.
Yeah, short haircut.
And then he asked you if you know why your sister was shot, why Markeith shot her. And you told him that you couldn't tell him right then.
Yes.
And certainly you were in a lot of pain, right?
Sure.
And then at some point, before the next statement that was given, you had this interview with the police, is that right?
Yes.
And your mom came to see you,
Yes.
and they were all concerned about you very much.
Yes.
And you found out that your sister had died,
Not right away.
and they didn't tell you right away.
Mm-mm.
But you knew she was in bad shape.
Yeah.
And when the police questioned you, both off the record and on the record, they asked you a bunch of times, are you sure you didn't attack Markeith? You remember that?
Yeah.
And you said no. Is that right?
Yes.
And they asked you about your sister and the gun. And you didn't know anything about the gun until after the fact. Is that right?
Being on the scene.
On the scene.
Yeah.
You didn't know the gun, her gun was on the scene. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Okay. But you found out later.
Yes.
And they asked you a bunch of questions about that.
Yes.
And your sister never mentioned to you that she had went in and got a gun.
No.
She never mentioned to you that she had asked Markeith to come to the side of the house while she was in possession of that gun.
I didn't hear about that.
She never mentioned to you anything about him telling her to drop the gun
No.
or any of that.
None of that.
Can I have a moment, Judge?
You may.
I have no further questions, Judge.
Redirect.
Mr. Lim, I'm going to ask you about your deposition.
Yes.
Can you explain to the jury just sort of briefly what the deposition was?
Just my accounts of the situations that occurred.
Did you give it under oath?
Yes.
And who questioned you about that?
The defense.
Same attorney that was just questioning you?
Yes, sir.
To answer his questions?
Yes.
I'm going to show you, is that your deposition?
Yes.
I want you to open it to page 86.
All right.
Line 10.
Yes.
What did Mr. Linneman ask you?
He asked me what happens at that point.
And what did you tell him?
She said something in regards, yeah, he'll beat your behind. And I was like, this is not what we're going to be doing today.
May this witness be excused. State.
Yes, ma'am.
Defense. Yes. All right, thank you, sir. You're free to go. Jury need a break, or are you doing okay? You guys doing okay? All right, call your next witness.
Gary Anderson.
Doing okay?
I'm sorry, Tracy Anderson, Your Honor. Can't read my own handwriting.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
You may inquire.
Will you state your name and spell your last name, please?
Tracy Anderson, Anderson.
And how are you employed, ma'am?
I'm an official court reporter here in Orange County.
And as such, you come to court and transcribe sessions in court?
Yes,
How long have you been doing that?
40 years.
Ms. Anderson, I'd like to draw your attention to the date of August the 13th of this year and ask, were you in court as a court reporter in a proceeding involving this case?
Yes, I was.
And was it your job to take down everything that's said?
Yes, it was.
And when you take it down, do you take it down verbatim
Yes,
as it's being said?
yes,
And once you've taken it down, if you're requested to, do you create a transcript of it?
yes,
And do you review those transcripts to make sure they're accurate?
yes,
The proceeding that you're in court for on the 13th, do you, as you sit here today, remember everything that everybody said?
no, sir.
While you were here listening to it and writing it down, you remember what they said?
As I was writing it.
I want to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit AF for identification. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Let me show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit AF for identification. And ask, do you recognize that?
Yes,
And how do you recognize it?
I reviewed it yesterday and put my initials on it in yesterday's date.
Okay, and is it an accurate transcript of the proceedings of August the 13th?
Yes,
I'd like to draw your attention to page 12 of that document and ask you first, who was speaking at this point in the proceeding?
Mr. Loyd.
And starting on line 2, going through line 6, would you tell the jury what Mr. Loyd said?
It wasn't my fault, and her brother know I know. And he came out. I told him we were straight. She told him we were straight. She didn't even ask you for your help. She done pulled the gun on me already. I took her gun.
Thank you, ma'am. I have no other questions, Your Honor.
Cross? All right, may this witness be excused?
I'm sorry?
May
Yes.
the witness be excused?
Yes.
Mr. Lone? Sure. Do you want me to stand up and stretch, or do you need a break? Stand up and stretch? Break? Can you break? No? Okay. Just checking. All right, you're free to go, ma'am. Thank you very much. Call your next witness.
Expect the next witness to be on the stand probably close to an hour, maybe a little less. That affects the court's
It's a
decision.
good time to take a break. I told you, you just wouldn't listen to me. Go ahead. What? Court's in recess. Oh.